Martinelli again. And Saka!
Yes, guys, welcome to episode 5 of the Football for Thought podcast. I'm Senal and I'm your host. And once again, I'm joined by Lahiru, your co host. Today, we are breaking down the fantastic 4-0 win that Arsenal had over Atletico Madrid in midweek. And this is the first time we've actually done a midweek podcast because we had to cover this game. And it was not just a 4-0 win against a weak Atletico team. This team beat Real Madrid 5-2 just a week ago. Absolutely buzzing. So, Lahiro, how do you feel 2 days after this game?
Hi, man. Thanks for having me here. Like you said, a statement performance. I mean, we needed that to get, we are good and we have been consistently good, but that kind of a 4-0 drubbing was coming, I guess. You know, we were dominating all these games, but still winning them like 2-0, 1-0, all these like small score lines. But you can see that this was coming and this was, down the line. And a team like Atletico, which has a immense European pedigree, and under a coach like Simeone, who is, I think, one of the best defensive coaches in Europe, but now kind of changing his approach to be more attack oriented, to face a team like that and win so comprehensively without like really giving them, I mean, other than like 2 chances off the top of my head, I think just 2 chances, one completely, on account of Raya, and another almost a worldie from Alvarez. We didn't give them anything else. So yeah, it was pretty good. Like one of our best performances in Europe in a long time. Like it falls into the Real Madrid category kind of performance for me.
Yeah, it was quite surreal because even though it was at the Emirates Stadium, this is European heritage. Simeone has taken this Atletico team to, I think, 2 finals, right? And
yeah, 2 finals.
Yeah, 2
He's won the La
finals
Liga as well.
Yeah, during the Messi Ronaldo peak era. We can straight away get into the game, and I want to mention Victor Gyökeres finally breaking his 7 club game goal drought. Just a reminder to hit the like button and subscribe if you're enjoying our content, because it helps us more than you can imagine. Obviously, the first goal was a bit scrappy, but the second goal, you could see that he really meant it. But before going into the goals, let's break down the game, how it started. So at the beginning, we definitely took control. And then 24 minutes in, David Raya, I think he thought the ball was going to roll out and wanted to shield it, but it just got stuck there. And he was in 2 minds. He cleared it away. Straight away, they took the throw in before he could run back. And Alvarez, on his left foot, the goal was open. Gabriel and Saliba rooted and just missed. And that could have changed the entire game.
Yeah, I think what was more surprising was that how Raya went back to his goal. He was like jogging. He didn't even run. And I think everyone just was caught by surprise. Even Alvarez to a certain extent. I don't think even Alvarez expected to find an open goal because he could have easily put that in. And even Saliba and Gabriel, I didn't think expected to be in that situation, and nobody reacted really fast to that thing. So yeah, I mean, it would have been a really tough game if that went in, because Atletico, it would have perfectly suited Atletico's game plan. They would have sat back and hit us on the counter, and they have the players to hit us on the counter. They would have brought in Griezmann much earlier, taken off Salah, and hit us on the counter. So yeah, the thing is this, right? We are so good defensively, but no team is going to go through a game without conceding a chance. The thing with Arsenal is that we rarely give the opposition a chance. It's mostly what we do ourselves, like a misplaced pass, something like what Raya did. So on our side, if we can maintain like a 0 error free kind of game, at least in the back, I think we would even like bring down the XGA to close to a 0. I mean, I think the XGA right now is at 0.6 per game, which is less than a goal per game, which is the best in Europe right now and best in the league anyway. So I think most of those things are also because of what we do. Like we play out from the back. We pass a lot. Raya passes a lot. Raya draws in attackers and tries to pass through the line. So those kind of things tend to get caught up, and we might, the position might be intercepted. I think if we can just make sure we don't concede those kind of self-inflicted chances, I think we are on course for a record-breaking defensive play. But anyway, I'm glad that that didn't go in.
Yeah, and the fact that Raya just jogged back, there was like no urgency, and it's probably because he didn't face a shot on target for 2 games, and then this game was the first time he was tested by 1 or 2 shots maximum. And I think it's just like how Saliba is in training, as Arteta has advised him to, not coast and not be so lackadaisical, because he's so good. Even when he doesn't put his 100%, he's a cut above the rest. And for Raya, with this defense in front of him, it's as if the job is easier than ever. So I think that was one of the reasons why he wasn't on his toes. But we know Raya, he very rarely makes any mistakes, and he is pretty focused. And when he's called upon, his reflex saves are unbelievable. Also, we have a small announcement from the FFT podcast. We have created an open WhatsApp group for anyone who's watching. Anyone who wants to join, we can have discussions there. You can ask us any questions. And also, you will receive links to brand new podcasts right as soon as they're uploaded. So please check the link below and join our WhatsApp group. And what surprised me as well was how Gabriel and Saliba just stayed in their zone, even when the throw-in was taken quickly. And if it was someone like Declan Rice, he would have run into the goal and tried to stay on the line and block any chance of an open goal until Raya got back. So even they were taking it a bit too easy, I'd say. But I mean, it's basically human nature, I guess. Things get too easy. It's quite normal to coast. Nevertheless, after that, even before we scored our first goal, Julian Alvarez took one touch outside the box and went for a finish shot, and it had so much power. The way it went, I thought it was gonna fly over the bar, but it just dipped with so much pace. Raya had no chance, and it was another let off. And especially when Alvarez was at Man City, I saw him, and he was all right. He was not so threatening. He was a decent second striker. Haaland always took the spotlight. But after going to Atletico Madrid, I don't know whether it's the system in Spain or the conditions there, he's just turned into a ruthless finisher.
About that finish, I think he had a little bit too much space and time to take that shot. I think we had either lost position up the field or it was on one of their counters. So it wasn't that they came and broke our defense down and took that shot. It was, I think it was on a counter. So that's what I was saying. These chances are going to be considered, especially in the Champions League, where teams tend to play you more and more aggressively than the Premier League. Premier League, it's a more box kind of they don't take much risks. They wait for those chances. But in the Champions League, the teams are going to come out at you. And it was a really good strike. And it hit the bar and came back in. I don't know, I don't want to say that Raya's positioning for that shot, I didn't like it. I thought he was a bit too forward in the box because it dipped, and when it dips, I think you should be able to palm it off, and he wouldn't have been able to palm it off if it dipped below the bar. So I think he would have been. He was a bit suspect when it came to his positioning for that shot. But I'm not really worried about that part because these things are going to happen. At some point, they're going to score a goal against us. At some point, they're going to, have a shot on target. Like the thing about Arteta and his defensive, approach is that we are so good defensively. Even like a shot that bounces off the post gets us all riled up, but that happens. That's normal in a football match. We are so used to being so defensively solid, we can't even tolerate like a shot on target. And I saw a lot of reactions where how did we concede this one shot on target? Like one shot on target in itself is such a good record in a game against a team like Atletico Madrid. Tough game, intense game, big European night. These things are going to happen.
And even Raya, we know that he's always off his line. And once again, I think it's just down to the way our defense is, because no one takes shots like that in the Premier League against us, at least so far this season. So of course Raya is not ready. But I think if we were playing a team like Barcelona with Lamine, and I think Rafinha's injured now, but Fermin Lopez, if we were playing one of them, I'm sure Raya would have been, a bit further back, looking to protect the goal from those long shots. But yeah, then we go 0-0 into halftime, and even in the 46th minute, there was only one added minute at halftime, and in the 46th minute, Gyökeres was, pressing really hard against Oblak.
Gyökeres' work rate was amazing in that game. And the thing about having an out-and-out striker is that you can really see how different we are when it comes to our attacking play from last season. You can see the two central defenders of any team are so pegged on our striker, and he keeps pulling them. Wherever he goes, they have to mark him. So the thing with the striker, thing with Gyökeres especially, is that he's always on the shoulder of the defender, either the right defender, the right centre back, or the left centre back, right? So they always have to keep him marked, and they always have to keep looking behind to see whether he's going to make that run, right? So that half a second is going to be enough for a through ball, for Saka to make the run back like last season or the season before last. When Havertz was playing as a striker, he drops deep, right? He tends to get involved in the build-up play. So the defenders have all the attackers in front of them, right? So they can see the game playing out right in front of them. So they can afford to get one of the central defenders to double up on Saka or the winger on the left. It's usually they double up on Saka with their left back. Right now, with a striker right on their shoulders, they can't afford to do that because the attacking play is not really in front of them. They have an attacker right behind them or right parallel to them, right? So they can't really double up on Saka or kind of, afford to move out of their shape. So they have to keep moving with him, which affords Saka so much space, which affords Timber so much space. We see Timber right now coming into that right in-stream kind of area, the right half spaces. So I think I'm so glad that he got the 2 goals, but the work rate is demonstrated if you really analyze how how the defenders react to Gyökeres, you can see the work rate really shine through.
Definitely. And for that work rate, I'm so glad that he got those 2 goals. But starting off with the first goal, the set piece, the cross from Declan Rice, that's what I've seen from Trent and Kevin De Bruyne and no one else. And I know Declan Rice was already pretty good at this, but I think he's reached another level because that delivery was absolutely incredible. Inch perfect because the defenders were blindsided. They didn't want to go towards the cross because they thought, okay, Oblak's going to catch this. But even Oblak was like, oh, it's in that zone. I can't commit yet. And then Gabriel stays offside just before the free kick was taken, and he comes in on the blind side unmarked, and he doesn't even have to jump. He actually has to bend and guide it into the bottom left, and Oblak had no chance. But that delivery is sensational.
Yeah, did you feel though when you saw that ball fly in? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just felt that this was going to be a goal. Like that's
True.
how good our set pieces are. Like you kind of see the goal being scored before it's actually scored. And I think even the crowd reacted to the goal before they actually scored the goal. I mean, when I saw it being Gabriel breaking through the crowd to attack the ball, then I knew, yeah, this was gonna at least make contact with his head. And yeah, it was not one of his powerful headers. It was like he placed it. I think the goalkeeper should have done better because it actually touches his arm. But the placement was good, the angle was good, and I think it was just too close to the goalkeeper anyway to really palm it off. Yeah, like you said, the delivery was amazing, like Beckham-like, I think.
Yeah, as you said, when it was going in, when it was dropping into that zone, I had a feeling, oh, this is dangerous. Someone's going to get their head on it. And because the header from Gabriel wasn't his usual signature, powerful, colossal header, I thought, okay, someone just tapped it in. I thought it was like Saliba or maybe even like Timber or even Miles because, it didn't look like a tall guy just got to that. But wow, it was unbelievable. And I think that, opened up the game. And what I see from Arsenal right now is obviously we face so many low blocks. We just open the team up with a set piece goal. And now the other team has to attack because, they're losing. And what a weapon this is.
Yeah. And I think I'm sure we'll get on to the second goal. But have you noticed how Zubimendi positions himself in our build-up? He positions himself between our 2 defenders, right? So he basically kind of stays right in the middle of the two defenders. And when he's pressured by their two attackers or by their striker, he's able to find space either to Gabriel or Saliba on either side for them to find either Eze or Declan on the right-hand side or the left-hand side. Having that extra man in the build-up, because last year, Partey wasn't doing that. Partey was not really getting involved in the build-up as much as Zubimendi is right now. Having that extra man in the build-up is really helping us to move their shape out of their original setup to get our players free to receive the ball on the half turn and then attack forward. So that's helping a lot when it comes to Eze, who's still getting used to the number 10 position. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about him. He has to improve more. But if you put Ødegaard there, I think freeing Ødegaard, because Ødegaard has to come. When Partey was playing, Ødegaard comes back more to get the ball and try start recycling the ball from the defense to the forward areas. But right now, he doesn't need to do that because Zubimendi does that. And so Ødegaard can be more influential in the forward areas. So that kind of, I know, set pieces, help us to break down, open up games and score first. But I think set pieces are generated by dominating play. How you dominate play is by having incisive pieces of direct play through their lines. And how you do that through their lines is by making sure you have a advantage in the numbers in the midfield. And Zubimendi, by dropping in the middle of the two defenders, I think helps us get there.
The biggest difference between Zubimendi and Partey is just truly two-footed. Any lofted pass from his right and his left, I don't see a difference. And he makes it look so effortless. So I think apart from that, even if we move into the second goal, Miles Lewis-Skelly, his first start, and he gets it in the Champions League, gets the ball from midfield, surrounded by 3 Atletico players, drives past them. A bit of a heavy touch, and I was surprised Conor Gallagher didn't go for the slide tackle. He was not the usual Gallagher that we know, who's like so energetic, running around, physical. That was none of that. I don't know whether he's recovering from an injury or if Simeone has changed the way he plays, but he just got past them easily, and then someone else was chasing him. He just out-muscled him and gave a through ball. And Martinelli, one of his biggest critics, that's for sure, but the way he adjusted his body for that, took about 3 quick steps. I think he wasn't even expecting to get the pass in that zone because he was facing a bit towards the left, and then he quickly changed direction and went for the shot. So I think even personally, while I was watching it, I thought Miles will give a through ball, like between the two defenders, but it went from the side, and Martinelli instinctively just finished it, and it couldn't have been any better because Oblak even got a hand to that. He was already moving to the left and post and in. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I think he didn't do the through ball because their right back went towards Skelly, which created a lot more space outside the right back. Otherwise, if he just held his position or drifted towards Martinelli, there would have been space for a through ball. But the other thing, I was thinking about why Martinelli is playing so well. I think it's because now we have so many options on the left-hand side. I know right now Madueke is injured and all, but even Trossard is playing well. So when Madueke comes back or Eze can play there, the entire burden of the left-hand side is not on either Martinelli or Trossard. Like last season, they had to perform, and they are always being judged against Saka, who is just sensational, right? And so they have to carry this burden of the left-hand side, which has been our weak side for some time now, for at least 2 seasons. So I think knowing that it's not only their responsibility to solve the left-hand side problem has helped Martinelli to kind of free up his game and play more freely, I think. Because if you look at the goal yesterday, he scores it with his first touch. He doesn't take 2 touches. It's an instinctive finish. Like the Martinelli couple of years back in 22-23 season, when he shouldn't think. When Martinelli doesn't think about his shot tends to be really good, right? But if you are solely responsible for making the left-hand side click, then you'll have to think. It's an instinct to think more about your shot. It's an instinct to think more about your passes or play there. But right now, because we have so many options, I think has kind of freed Martinelli to play his natural game. His natural game might not even be the full 90 minutes week in, week out. His natural game might be the full 90 in Champions League and the last 10 minutes against tired Premier League defenders, right? I think the same applies to even Trossard. Trossard is also now free because they know the entire burden is not on them. I think that's why we are seeing, at least for the time being, the best aspect of Martinelli and Trossard. Trossard being a good finisher, we have seen that time and again, and Martinelli just finishing things off, on his instinct.
It's interesting because my view on it is completely different. What I feel like is for Martinelli now, he knows his minutes are limited and he has to take every chance he gets. Whereas for the past 2 years, he always knew every game he's getting the full 90 on that left, or at least 70 minutes. So he can take as many touches as he wants and try to make the perfect goal or perfect cross because he has time. It's okay to make mistakes. But I think Martinelli right now feels like, he's the fourth choice. He's the fourth choice behind Eze, Madueke, Trossard. So for him, he knows if I have a chance to shoot, I need to shoot and I need to score, or I'm never getting this chance for another 2 weeks, or I'm getting just 10 to 20 minutes in the next 2 weeks. So I think more than it being the left side freeing up Martinelli, I think it's actually made him less free, and that he knows that the time is running out for him at this club. So he has to do his best, and that's why he's just doing what he wants instinctively rather than thinking, because if he thinks, he's going to take time, and that's less time on the clock for him to play. So, I mean, we can look at it both ways.
That's what depth does. I mean, it really makes everyone kind of lift their game and elevate their game.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, even last year, Trossard and Martinelli both were quite frustrating to watch. And the only difference is with Trossard, there's almost always guaranteed output. He can have the worst game, but he'll get a goal or an assist. Whereas Martinelli, either he'll score or he'll just have the worst game. So there's nothing in between. And that's why I've lost a bit of patience with him for 2 years. But if he can keep coming off the bench and doing what he's been doing so far, perfectly fine with that. But as soon as Eze and Madueke come back, I definitely want to see them start.
Where do you want Eze to play?
Personally, I'd take him on the left because I feel like even at Palace, he used to drift from the left to the center. And for him, he's through balls and those incisive passes are opened up when he's facing the entire pitch, where he can do the reverse pass and where he can switch it to the other side. If he's on the right side, he's only going to pass it to his left or give a simple through ball. Whereas when he's on the left, the angle opens up where he can disguise his passes, cut through the ball, give a blindsided reverse pass while dribbling to the right side, give it to the left, and a lot of options open up for him. And in the center, I think he has never faced low blocks like this for Palace. So what Ødegaard does is completely different to what Eze does. And I think the skill set that they both have kind of suits Ødegaard with the teams that we play against. And we've seen Arne Slot realizing how different teams can, play different players, play different styles. Like the first time he's ever seen this because he doesn't have Salah and Van Dijk with another Ballon d'Or season. So he's finally with a normal team. And I think it's the same with Eze and Ødegaard, where, they have to play towards their strengths.
I think like a couple of weeks back, we were talking about how average Slot is. I think he's just, proving that week in, week out. I mean, what kind of a comment was that? We could play them well because they played it on the ground. I mean, so what? Then Brentford will just, have long balls all day.
Yeah, and because he's not English or because he's not Arteta, he's barely getting any stick for it. And none of the journalists are even confronting him about it or asking him more questions. And even now, he's recently called Newcastle a small team, which, I mean, to be fair, compared to Liverpool, they are. But who are you to say that? Like, you're not Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, and Newcastle are not a small team. I mean, I hate Newcastle, but they are a pretty big team.
Yeah, and he's barely getting any stick for it as well. Eddie Howe, being the respectful person he is, didn't even comment on it. But, Klopp had a bit of a slip.
It'll come. It'll happen, though, because I remember a time when United were not getting any stick. They could get away with anything. But right now, I mean, not right now, but United just beat Liverpool. But in the last few seasons, United have been dragged through the mud. So if Slot keeps this up, and I watched that Frankfurt game. I mean, I watched most of it. It's not that Liverpool were amazing. They still conceded first. Frankfurt scored first, right? It's just that Frankfurt was so bad. They have conceded like 60 goals or something so far in the season. Frankfurt. That defense is so bad, right? So I think against Brentford with, Brentford, I don't remember their striker's name, but they have a good setup, even Iga Thomas. No, Tom.
No.
Yeah, Thomas.
Thiago.
Yeah, he's good, and their wingers are good. And even though they lost Frank and Ødegaard and all of them, I think they'll give Liverpool a fight. I don't know whether they'll, draw or win, but just telling in a press conference, I'm glad the opposition team kept the ball on the floor, on the ground. That's just stupid.
It's like
I don't know.
school football manager excuses at this point. It's unbelievable. And it's crazy how, he was never pressured last season. He got a season where Arsenal and City had an injury crisis, and his two best players had their best ever season in a couple of years. And it just shows how it papered over all the cracks. And now without Trent and with two new fullbacks, and even Isak, again, he has injured his groin, which is a recurring injury. He's blaming Newcastle for not taking care of the player, while the player literally didn't want to show up for training. It's going from bad to worse for Arne Slot, but I hope it continues.
Yeah, and the fullbacks are not even being started now. I mean, Robertson and Bradley started against Frankfurt.
And even Szoboszlai is preferred over Frimpong at right back for most of the games. Yeah. And not gonna lie, I really enjoy watching Szoboszlai play because his long shots and his physicality, and
him and Ekitike is silky forward.
The first goal, just 2 touches, the confidence to just push the ball forward and knowing that he'll get there before the defender. 2 touches and he's in, and that's exactly what Henry said Gyökeres should do. And for one of the goals, he didn't score.
Yeah, Ekitike is faster than Gyökeres.
Yeah, faster, more agile, more technical.
Yeah,
he's really good. But yeah, going into the third goal, Zubimendi with his peach of a left foot, he just caressed the ball into that space, and Martinelli first time cross into Eze, and it fell to Gyökeres' path. Oh, sorry, what am I saying? Wait, am I saying that right?
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
Yes.
Eze, like Shanghai kicks it.
Yeah. Yeah, it fell into Gyökeres' path, and then Gyökeres takes 2-3 touches, tries to side foot it, gets the best deflection he could have hoped for, and it rolls in. But you could see that even Gyökeres was a bit embarrassed with that goal. And even though it ended his goal drought, he was like, oh, hey.
Yeah, I mean, I swear to God, if Martinelli touched that ball before it went into the net, I would have lost it. Because I saw him like kind of make a move.
Yeah, jogging back. But we know Martinelli, he's not selfish. Like even before, like the ball was rolling in for Gyökeres' goal, and he waited till it hit the post before hitting it. So it would have definitely not been for selfishness, but definitely just stupidity if he had done it.
Yeah.
Like when Nani headed in Ronaldo's goal for Portugal. Gyökeres, with that, he broke the deadlock. And it was really nice to see Saka and Myers jumping around him and the whole team coming up towards him. Like this sort of unity. Like I know Gyökeres is definitely not an emotional person, but even he would have felt very touched by what his teammates did. 5 in 8. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and I think in the next run of games he will get a couple more. I think it will, because especially the way I think more Eze gets used to this. And have you noticed how our left backs play now? They're not inverting anymore. They're playing all over.
Yeah.
They're not inverting. Inverting is you stick to the central midfield, right?
Yes,
but they're not sticking to the central midfield. They are, coming around the zone 40, the 40 zone, which is probably the most dangerous zone in front of the penalty box. They are like, especially like Calafiore just is mostly there than in his left back position, right? So if you overload in your forward areas, chances are going to fall more in your favor, and that's going to help your career. So I think he's going to, pretty sure there'll be a goal or two in the next run of games, which would be a very
Definitely.
good return.
Yeah, and he should have had 7 goals by now if, those parried shots bounced to him. Like, they were just inches away in the last few games. I was like, damn, like, how the narrative would have changed if he had scored those goals. But I think, the floodgates will open because, a lot of players start well, they hit a bit of a slump. And then after some time, when they get 1 or 2 lucky goals or when they get a penalty or something, things start to flow. And I think this is how it's going to work because even though Gyökeres is probably one of the worst new strikers to come to the league in terms of technical ability, his mentality is arguably the best. And I think he
Best.
won't rest without scoring. Like, for example, if you take Havertz, I don't think he's mentally that strong because compared to Gyökeres because he can go quite a few games without scoring. And, I just from his body language, it doesn't feel like, he's kill his grandmother to score the next goal.
I think that was Havertz in the first run of games. I think Havertz right now is more of a beast than he was when he started.
I guess, but to be fair, we haven't seen Havertz for about 8 to 9 months, if you really think about it. So,
But because I don't know whether you remember the win at Tottenham, 3-2 win towards the end of 23-24. Remember
yeah.
we scored 3 goals and they scored 2 late goals and we still won there. There's a clip of Havertz pushing Maddison into the stands.
Yes, I have seen that.
Right?
Clip.
I mean, I was thinking the way he pushes Maddison would have gone and would have gone into the stands with that push. That's extremely violent stuff.
Yeah. No, Havertz is a shithouse. Yeah.
Yeah. And especially remember that Newcastle game we lost, he went into that, 2-footed tackle against, I think Joelinton. Yeah. So I think he is more of I think when he came, he was like a kind of like a mama's boy kind of thing.
Yeah.
He wants things, fall to his feet. But I think right now, and especially like you said, more competition means better performance throughout the squad. So I don't think he's just going to break. I know Arteta loves Havertz, but I don't think he's guaranteed to start every game with Gyökeres being there.
Yeah, so what I mean is the single-mindedness. So, for example, Havertz can go without goals for a run of games, but then he'll be happy with a good performance. Whereas Gyökeres, without scoring, he won't give 2 hoots about his performance. He wants goals. So that's the difference in mentality where it's directed from Gyökeres towards goals, primarily towards goals. So that I feel like, with his skill set, even though he's not the best and even though this is the hardest league in the world, he'll find a way. I'm so certain about that. And a lot of factors play into this as well. He's 27. He knows this probably is his last big move unless, he just peaks at 30 and, goes to Real Madrid or something, which is quite unlikely. But this is the best opportunity he'll get. And same with Eze. He's 27 as well. And I don't think he'll ever leave Arsenal, especially after everything we've seen. And I think he'll start firing pretty soon as well because, I just hope it's not like when Hazard went to Real Madrid. That was his dream move. His dream coach to work under was Zidane. Went there and then, everything went for a 6. But the thing with Hazard is he's a lazy trainer and his diet is horrible. With Eze, he has the basics. He has the discipline. He's not just riding on talent. So, yeah, it's just I can't wait for these two to start firing. But until they do fire, it's like the games look easy when you look at the stats and you look at the shots conceded, the chances created. But, there are a lot of games where we go just 1-0, 2-0, not 2-1, but we can do a lot better.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that because it's a long season and I want us to really click into top gear around February, March, when the Champions League knockout stages start, when if you are in the Carabao Cup semi-final, final, whenever, but I'm not too fussed about Carabao Cup. And when the running in the league starts, because our running in the league is not really tough if you look at it. I mean, we have finished our toughest run of fixtures. I think the next toughest run of fixtures is coming up in November when we play Spurs, Bayern, Chelsea. I think that, but other than that, I think it's quite favorable to us. So if we click into gear, and I think they should click into gear by then. I mean, if they don't, then that's another problem. That is enough sufficient time for them, because by then we'll have Madueke back, Havertz back, Ødegaard back. Because another thing that's affecting Gyökeres, I think, is fatigue. You know, he's playing every day for 90 minutes, right? So Madueke, for Eze, I think it's positionally he needs to still figure things out. So if they kind of, figure things out by then, I think we'll be really, really strong. I mean, like crazy strong. That squad depth, when the injured players come, that squad depth is phenomenal, dude. I mean, like there'll be players who won't make the match day squad, right? And not just like, academy players. There'll be players like Ødegaard, Merino. I don't think they'll make the squad. There's no space,
Yeah.
right? That's an insane level of depth. So if we can, like, fingers crossed, if we can maintain our bloody fitness and make sure, like we don't like, okay, find a Dubai trip to, get the, juices flowing again. I don't care anything, but just give us that season Liverpool had last year, no injuries, because Salah is going to the AFCON. He's not there in January, February, right? Isak is going to be in and out of the team, trust me. And I don't think Guehi will move in January just because Liverpool are down a defender. Because Guehi is going to run out of contract next summer, and he will have the pick of teams by then. Why would he move just to Liverpool? Why would he just corner himself? He can easily go to Real Madrid. Like, I don't think Kanat is really something Real Madrid should, take a chance on, because Kanat is not really, doing well. And Van Dijk is getting old. Their fullbacks are not firing, because I have a feeling Slot is going to go into a back three system next season with two wing backs. I think that I'm seeing that kind of a sign from him. That's probably why Kirkes and Frimpong were bought initially. So just give us that kind of, peaceful zen time with the injuries, and yeah, okay, sky's the limit.
Yeah, but I think Guehi to Liverpool is very likely in Jan, because Liverpool are the type of team to, if they have a target, like, so I remember there was this player, it didn't work out. I think Fabio Carvalho, I think they missed out on him in Jan and they just got him in the summer. So, and Guehi, I think, the biggest club that has come in for him so far is Liverpool. So I think if they go in again for him in Jan, he might go, because even his replacement was not a well-known defender. So it shows that Palace might, just get whoever to fill in the gap, and he might go in Jan. But anything can happen in this.
But the thing is, they have spent 450 million pounds.
Yeah.
Will they spend another 50 odd million again? I don't know. They very well could. But
They could.
I don't know whether you remember, in our group I put this poll, like what is the better move for Pool, whether it's to sign Isak or to sign Guehi. And a lot of people voted saying to sign Isak, that is the better move. But I always thought signing Isak, who is very similar to Ekitike, and I believe Ekitike is a better player, better ceiling at least, right, would not be the right move. I think Guehi and a central defense, because they spent 125 million pounds on Isak, I think, plus add-ons.
Yeah.
Guehi and another central midfielder, just in case Gravenberch or McAllister get injured, right? They will need another midfielder, because I don't think Endo is going to really do it, right? And Szoboszlai, so they need two midfielders there.
Yeah,
right?
but the thing is, I think they got Isak because, they had to replace Jota, Nunes, and Luis Diaz. So they got Ekatike. They want Rio, the young player, to also, have a pathway. So it was more of, getting two players instead of replacing three. And Ekatike was also a risk because, no one expected him to perform like this in the league. Whereas with Isak, everyone knows, either this week or in 2 weeks, in 2 months, he'll come good. So I think that was their thinking going into that. And always,
I don't think so, dude. I don't think so, because Isak was not up for sale. Isak's move came through in the last few weeks. They had to get a striker. That's why I don't believe for a second their plan was to get both Ekitike and Isak. Ekitike was the fallback option, because Isak was his toughest target in the entire summer. And it took a strike on his part to make this move go through, right? So, and when that happens, and when it's a club like Newcastle, who had 3 years on him, right? He had 3 years on his contract, right? So Newcastle could have easily waited. I mean, we have seen this happen. We have seen with Higuain in Real Madrid, at Real Madrid. We have seen with a lot of players who don't want to play. It happened even with us, with Fabregas. He wanted to go a summer earlier than he did, but he stayed. So the fact that Isaac was going to move was not a certainty. I'm sure of that. That's why they went in for Ekitike. Isaac's thing developed. Remember, he put out a press statement, and then he put out an Instagram post, and then Newcastle released a press statement saying our position has not changed. I was listening to the Athletic and David Ornstein. None of them were sure that this was going to happen, right?
So why do you think they got him in the end?
I think the reason why they got him in the end was because towards the, I don't know whether you remember the game where Gordon got a red card and Newcastle played Liverpool off the park but still lost. Do you remember that game?
I think I remember. Okay.
Yeah. So Newcastle lost that game. On the eve of that game, I was listening to the commentary. The owners, the representatives of the owners of Newcastle and the agents of Isaac were going to have a meeting. They were going to have a sit down and they were going to try and resolve this. Right? I think because Newcastle were trying for Visa and they got him, right? They tried for Šeško and Waldemar. I think that move came very late, right? I think they kind of expedited Waldemar's move after that meeting fell through. I don't think that meeting was successful. So up until that meeting, what these journalists were saying, and there's this really credible Newcastle journalist who writes for Athletic, what they were saying is that until that meeting was done, none of them were sure whether this was going to happen because the PIF, the sovereign fund, will have to sanction this move. Just because a player wants to move doesn't mean they'll get to move, because that sets a bad precedent even for other players. Like next summer, what if Bruno wants to move and he just goes on strike, right? Like, like Gyökeres went on strike and we are fine with it. But imagine one of our players, goes on strike, and we have had that situation with Fabregas who refused to train, Aubameyang who wanted to move to Barcelona. Those kind of situations are not tenable. So I think at the end of the day, they made a business move, commercial decision. They're going to get 100-odd million pounds. They lined up their replacements with Waldemar and Visa. I know Visa is injured right now. And they, I think, sanctioned the move. But I don't believe for a second that this is going to happen. And their plan was to get both these players. No way.
Yeah, so, because Ekitike was confirmed pretty fast, why do you think they had a meeting and went ahead with buying Isak?
Because that's the thing, right? Ekitike, like you said, was not a guaranteed signing, guaranteed hit.
Yeah.
He's a young kid. He's like, 21, 20,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
But they would have still had Ekitike if Isaac's move didn't come through. Right. So, but they still had a striker. They needed the thing with Liverpool is that they didn't have a striker last season. Right. They only got Chiesa. Chiesa is not a striker. He's a forward option of the flanks. So they needed a striker, and especially with who they used as a striker was Jota, but he's not there, sadly. So they needed a striker, and they got Ekitike. But do you remember the reports about them wanting Rodrigo?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I think Rodrigo, and they were looking at Semenyo as well. They're still looking at Semenyo, I think. I think those are the players they are looking to replace Jota. I don't think they thought of even replacing Nunes.
Yeah.
I think Nunes was just surplus at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right. Because Chiesa is doing a better job than Nunes did.
Definitely. And they really made a mistake by selling Luis Diaz, personally. I feel like, he wasn't the most consistent, but his impact was always there.
Yeah, his press is phenomenal.
And he scores out of nothing, all acrobatical finishes, insanely tight angles. Anyways, going into the fourth goal, you could see the fans had so many phones out recording, and they even started the before Declan Rice took the corner, and even this one, like, I don't know if they actually planned this, but it felt like, the corner had, but Gabriel just went around it, around the defender, stretched his neck and got the ball back into the danger zone, and Gyökeres humped it in. And he was so happy with that goal because I think he meant it. He wanted the ball to go. And he had this celebration which showed like a lot of relief left his face when that went in. And it was just like the second goal where he cut inside from the channel against Leeds.
Leeds.
Yeah, that's where, I saw a real celebration from Gyökeres, and I saw it again here. So it's looking good. I mean, Atletico played off the park, and that just shows if any team tries to attack us, they're cooked.
Yeah, I think I told you in even the last part, like it's such a problem against Arsenal. If you sit back and defend, we are going to break you through a set piece. If you come out of your blocks and attack us, we are going to just cut through cut through you in the spaces. So that's basically what happened for the second goal. Can you believe that Atletico let a 19-year-old kid just run through their midfield like that? I mean, if Atletico was sitting back, do you think they would have let him run through like that? No, they were attacking us because they were goal down. That's what allowed Miles to run through, right? So it's such a conundrum. So that's I'm really looking forward to the Palace game. I'm pretty sure we'll move on to that because Palace play a counter-attacking game. But if we get a goal, right, hopefully in the first half, Palace will have to come out.
Yeah.
And we'll see whether Glasner can really cope with that. Because Palace went a goal down, I think, against even Liverpool in the Community Shield. But Liverpool defense is not our defense.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know whether you watched the All or Nothing documentary. Have you watched it?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So do you remember that part where if you allow the ball to be passed from the wing infield to the zone 40, you'll be fined, right? I think that kind of defensive training has made us this elite. I mean, we are so damn good out of position. I think it's safe to say we are the best team in the world out of position. And our defensive metrics justify that. There are evidence of that, right? So I don't think just because Palace come and attack us, we will concede, right?
Yeah.
I know they have Mateta. I know they have Muniz.
Jeremy
Pino. And Wharton is good, but Wharton can't tackle. Wharton has a good passing range, but Wharton can't tackle.
Okay.
He's not good at intercepting play. He's good at distributing play. So I really hope, because this, like against Fulham, we got the goal in the second half, and then we realized that was it, and we didn't really push after that. But I want us to score first in the first half, which will really draw a team like Palace out, because Palace, because they are strong, it's not like Leeds, it's not like West Ham. Palace will try and play us, because they are sitting at 6th. They know they are good. Glasner is an attacking coach. He's a brave coach, and they have good players. So they will want to test themselves against Arsenal. And if they come out, I don't know whether you remember the Palace game 23-24, we beat them 5-0, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And do you remember that goal where Raya throws it up the field to Jesus, and we go all the way from one of our corners to their box, and Trossard scores? That was the second goal, I think, in that game. That is basically what will happen if Palace attack us. We'll just cut through their field, and we keep saying, right, all these fans keep saying, I need a 3-0, 4-0, 5-0. That will happen. But we have to score this first goal within the first 20-30 minutes.
That's true. Yeah, we have to open them up. And it's a bit disappointing if Gabriel is not playing it, because, our set piece threat is Gabriel, Declan, and Saka. So I really hope he'll be fit, at least to, play even like one half or the final third.
Yeah, he was walking fine after the game. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I hope so too. Anyways, yeah. Going into the final part of this podcast, we can move into the upcoming fixtures, because the lineup for Palace will be the same. If Gabriel doesn't play, Calafiori will play at left centre back and Miles will play at left back. So the next few fixtures for Arsenal are Crystal Palace at home, followed by Brighton, also at home, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, at home.
Yeah, I'm going to that.
This is in the EFL Cup, and Lahiro will be in the stands. So if any of y'all are watching, please say hi.
Yeah, that one Sri Lankan dude in North London.
It'll not be hard to spot, especially in that crowd. And yeah, following that, we go to Turf Moor, so Burnley away.
Is it Burnley or Sunderland? Burnley.
Burnley, yeah. Then Slavia Prague. And after that, we play Sunderland before the wretched international break. So, yeah, again, very, very winnable games. And then after that, Ødegaard will be back. Eze will be on the left. So, yeah, it's
Madueke will
looking
be
good.
back.
Madueke will be back. I missed him because, he's so fun to watch.
Yeah, that's the thing, Like, I know I'm like, Saka is sensational and world class, but
Yeah,
seeing a tricky winger who will beat his
yeah.
man, that gives like a different kind of feel.
Yeah, they are so rare, especially in today's game. And Eze is one of them as well. And it's just, he hasn't found the space or adjusted to the way we face teams. So we haven't seen it yet. But, we see glimpses of his body feints. Two moves and he deletes his man. So yeah, it's looking good. And that concludes episode 5 of the Football for Thought podcast. This was a long one, but it was 4-0 against Atletico, and we had so much to unpack. So if you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much, and see you this week, actually, after we destroy Palace.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.